Another day, another story time. Hello gorgeous, welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new, and if you are new, it would mean so much if you guys hit that subscribe button to join my YouTube family and click the bell to be notified every single time I drop a juicy video like this. We are going to continue with my dating fails, and I still have some story times up in my sleeve that I have been wanting to share all of these for a very long time. I just never thought I would put it on the internet, but here we are again, sharing another one of my atrocious dating fails. I'm going to talk about the time that I was played big time, and I really still don't understand this one, and I can't really wrap my head around it either, but it happened. Now I'm here to tell you. If you guys want me to continue these stories, thumbs it up, I definitely will, and let me know any of your dating fails down below or any dating experience that you went through. I always love to talk to you guys down in the comments, and thank you to everyone who has followed me on my Instagram. I have had a lot more join me on there, so if you want, you can follow me at NicolettaXOYT, and we could totally message on there. Feel free to slide into my DMs because I definitely want to talk to you guys more. Let's get into the juicy story. This was probably one of the last people that I dated before my current boyfriend, Nicholas. It was, I guess, a bang to the last time of me really dating until I met my boyfriend today. So it really made me appreciate my boyfriend I have currently after this whole F-boy went down. So I met this guy through a mutual friend, and I remember meeting him right before 2017. So it was in the winter time or fall time to winter when I met him. We're gonna call him Chris for this video. Hopefully I will remember that. Chris and I met through a mutual friend, and I was really excited because I had a crush on him. He was super cute, not gonna lie. He kind of looked like Channing Tatum, and if any of you guys know me, that was like my celebrity crush for like a million years. Now, if I look at him and see him, I cannot see Channing Tatum in him because we love Channing Tatum still, and this guy is not comparable, let me tell you that. We were seeing each other, and it was going really well. He was really funny and goofy, and he was actually a little bit older than me, just by a couple or a few years. So I really thought that, you know, he's gonna take us seriously because, you know, I was getting older. He was at the age too where usually, you know, people settle down and actually want to be committed for once in their life, but boy, was I wrong, as always. I just clearly cannot read men. It's a problem. Chris and I were dating and seeing each other, and it was going great, but unfortunately in the winter time, like soon after, he actually had to go back to the States. So Chris lives near where I live, but he actually was a professional hockey player. He wasn't in the NHL, however, he was just in the level down from the NHL. So he still did hockey professionally, and he was on a team in the States. So he had to go back to the States in the winter time and play over there, and then after the season's done, he comes home. And you guys already know that I tried long distance in the past, and I was a little bit hesitant. I clearly didn't learn from my first time of long distance, so I was like, let's try this out, and this time it's gonna be different. And no, it was not different. Why do I do this to myself? I don't know, but I do it to myself. He went off to the States to play hockey, and the whole time he was in the States, I felt like, now looking back, I was his freaking pen pal. Like, he wanted to continue the relationship, and he wanted to just be with me, he said. So I was stupid, and I said, okay, let's do it. Let's do this long distance things until you come back home. So he messaged me every single day, morning to night. He was those guys, you know, that send good morning texts and then send good night texts and everything in between. He would FaceTime me around his guy friends from the team. Sometimes when he would do hockey games, he would have to travel on a big like bus with all of his teammates to the actual place they were going to play against. And so he would even FaceTime me after he's done his hockey on the bus with all of the hockey players there, because they would have their own little like bunk bunk beds because it was like a long drive, so they would sleep on the bus overnight, so he would always FaceTime me there. And I really thought, like, you know what, he's into me because he's taking the time to message me all the time, to FaceTime me, and really we got to know each other as a person. There was no, like, you know, you're not in person, so there's no physical, it's all emotional. You really get to know the person emotionally when all your relationship is relying on texting and FaceTiming and just getting to know each other. And we would spend hours on FaceTime. I remember, like, we could talk forever, and sometimes we would fall asleep on FaceTime together, and it was really cute and sweet. And I was like, you know, this is definitely like an emotional connection, and we're building such a strong bond. And I really thought, you know, since he's taking so much time to keep this relationship going, and it's not like he's getting anything from it but an emotional attachment, that this was something more serious. And even my dad had thought so, you know, like, he's taking so much time to keep in contact with me, there's no physical, like, obviously he really likes me. And so I thought, so we continue to talk all the time. Now let's fast forward when Chris was ready to come home from his hockey season. So hockey ends and it was time for him to come back home. So when he was in hockey, this was probably the last year or the second last year to when he said that he wanted to stop it completely, and he thinks he's going to be done now with hockey because he was getting older, and that was kind of like the end for him. And hockey was always a passion for him, but he knew that that was kind of near the end of the road. So I knew that when I was going into this relationship too, that it wasn't always going to be long distance. That's what I think I was more prone to be like, okay, let's do this, because I knew that he was going to come home and he was pretty much going to be done playing hockey forever. So that it would only be long distance for a short period. So that is why I think I was fine with that, because I think if it was like my other situation where we actually just lived in 2 different countries, that I could never do that again. He came home and I was super excited because this whole time we have been waiting for him to come home, and he was really excited this whole time. He would talk about it, that when he comes home, we're gonna be together all the time and hang out. We could finally be together. After talking to each other through text and FaceTime for months, it was finally the time he was back home. And it's funny because he actually lives really, really close to my grandparents. So every single time I visit my grandparents, I have to pass by his house. There's that. But anyway, so he comes back home from the States, he drives home, and he basically ended up, right when he landed into our country, into Canada, his personality changed. Like, 100%, all of a sudden he changed. He was not that sweet person anymore. He didn't seem interested anymore. He was just kind of like over it. And I was just so confused. I'm like, why would you waste months talking to me, and then finally when you can actually see me, you act like a different person and you start acting rude to me and blowing me off? I'm just like, what was the point of that? Were you lonely in the States so you needed a little pen pal? I always joke about how I was the pen pal because I really don't see what the point of that was. So he came back, and of course he switched his phone to his Canadian phone. When he was in the States, he had an American number, and then he went to his Canadian number. So he just texted me through his Canadian number and was like, oh, like, I finally came home now, I'm back home. And then ever since then, the messages got less and less, and I was like really excited. I'm like, okay, like, when are we gonna see each other? Like, let's plan it and let's see each other. And he was just not about it. He kind of just kept making excuses first. And then this happened. So my best friend, God, I love my best friends. They always come through. But my best friend actually one day was on Tinder and Bumble. And who did she see? Chris. Yep. Chris was on Tinder and Bumble, and he was pretty much like writing in his bio that he was looking for someone to have fun with. Right when my best friend saw that, she called me and she's like, why is Chris on Tinder and Bumble? Like, why is he on a dating app? Aren't you guys together? And I was like, what? So she sent me a screenshot of his profile and I was like, yep, that's him. Hello. I see his little bios on both of them. The guy really wanted to go in right when he came back. He was right on Tinder. I believe it says too when they were last on, but I don't remember. But basically to make sure too, so she ended up swiping yes to him to see like if he'll match with you. He ended up matching with my best friend. Good old Chris ended up matching with my best friend on Tinder and ended up sliding into her messages and talking to her. So I was like, you know what? Let's go with it. Let's have some fun. You guys know I like to have some fun and just stir the pot a little bit. If it's already stirred, might as well have fun with it. So she ends up messaging him back and just kind of seeing like what he was gonna say. And he was like complimenting her, saying you're so beautiful, being really just gross and kind of a little bit trying to be sexual. And he was trying pretty much to meet up with my best friend and hook up. That's pretty much what he was on his apps for Tinder and Bumble, was just to hook up. And of course at that point, my friend was like, peace out, blocks him, and there's that. And then I just was like, well, I'm done and I'm never going to see you again. Obviously, I knew that he was a total player after that and he just completely wasted my time. I don't know, like I said, maybe he was lonely. I don't know, let me know your theories down below. I don't see the point of why he wasted so much time talking to me every single day, and then when he finally came home, he could have took the time to like see me. And I don't know what his whole deal was. I will never understand the brains of some people because it just made no sense to me. It was so frustrating too because I'm not someone too that goes in right away and like initiates things. It was all him initiating everything, always messaging me. And after that, I was like, I'm done with that. So I ended up just blocking him off everything. I blocked him off Instagram. I blocked him off text message, and there was that. Another one bites the dust. At that point, I feel like I was getting used to F-boys and I just moved on, and I'm like, you know what? We're just never gonna think about that time that I wasted in my life because he is not worth me to be upset, me to get heartbroken. I was over it at that point and I was like, you know what? I've been through this way too many times. We are getting used to it. We need to move on. I'm definitely a sucker for love and romance, and I did always have hope that one day I still would meet someone. Even though I got screwed over by so many people, I still was like a hopeless romantic and knew that one day when the time is right that I will meet someone. And after that point, when I did date him, because it was like near the end before I met Nick, I kind of did lose hope for a bit, and that was the time I feel like I fully was not looking. And then up came my boyfriend now, Nicholas, which I post him all the time on Instagram. So if you guys want, you can follow me on there like I said. But that was the time Nick kind of came into my life, is when I was least expecting it. You always hear that you'll meet the one when you're least expecting it, and that totally happened with me. I was expecting to be single again for a very long time. I just had the worst dating life experience, as you guys can tell by all these videos I keep coming out with, because that period of those 2 years were the worst dates I probably have ever been on. There was definitely a lot of players I met. I just apparently was a magnet and attracted all the players in Toronto. That was me in my life. Story of my life. So what ended up happening with Chris was really nothing. I just blocked and deleted him, and he still lives a minute away from my grandparents, so there's that. So I always have to still see his house every single time I go to my grandparents, which is very often, let me tell you. I am always at my grandparents' house. So we actually have, fortunately, never bumped into each other. I did see him once when I was driving to my grandparents, but luckily he didn't see me. We've never had that awkward encounter, and I'm hoping to keep it that way. It is his parents' house, so who knows, maybe he'll be moved out soon. So then now I won't ever have to worry about that. From what I last know, I know that he's still on Bumble and Tinder 2 years later, and I guess he hasn't found anyone yet. I wonder why. Ooh! The shade. Love that. I hope hope you guys enjoyed this story time and you got entertained from it with my dating fails as always. Thumbs it up if you guys liked it. I will link all my other story times down below. I do have a playlist now on my channel of story time, so definitely have a little binge watch. If you guys are going through some dating fails or you think that your dating life is just not the greatest, then definitely watch these because it will make you feel a lot better. Looking back, it's funny to laugh at, but I was definitely not laughing at that time. But now I can, so I hope you guys enjoy the video. Don't forget to click that subscribe button to join my YouTube family. I do upload every single week, and I would love for you guys to be a part of my family. We are getting so close to 1 million. Can we get our family there? I know we can. Don't forget to click the bell as well so YouTube notifies you every single time I do upload. Let me know anything else you want to see and leave your stories down below. I love talking to you guys in the comments and as well over on my Instagram and private messages, so feel free to slide in my DMs. But I hope you guys are having an amazing day, evening, or night whenever you're watching this, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye!